Joey, I just want to say one thing. Don't start the clock. At one point during the process of citizenship here, the government required me to see a forensic psychologist, and it was a secret report, obviously. Years later, they gave me the report, and it was as if you have been in a war zone and you have PTSD from the life behind me. I tried to put it behind me, look forward, and the most important part in my life, which I feel blessed for being able to live here, is this country and what you people and this country provided for people like me to be successful. So I'm going to start with thank you very much, all of you, and the land, which is the beautiful land. Okay, if you want to start the clock, I'm ready. Over the past weekend, I happened to get a book from a friend just randomly. The book was a translation of a work from Jorge Luis Borges, very famous Argentinian author, and the book was translated into Farsi. As soon as I started reading the book, the first story was about three Persian friends in Iran, and the connection to translation of one of the person's poetry book. So I decided to do more research on that. And I'm going to walk you through this fascinating story. I owe this beautiful story to Borges for sure, and his genius. Almost 1,000 years ago, there were three young Persian friends. And these friends, they promised each other that if any of them rises to power and wealth, helps the others. So it happens that one of them becomes the vizier in the court of the king at the time, which is Seljuk dynasty, and his name is Nizam. I'm going to cut the rest of his name for the sake of simplicity. And Nizam doesn't forget his friends, so he calls on them and says, "What do you want? What can I do for you?" And one says, which is the probably famous, Khayyam, which is a poet, astronomer, a mathematician. He says, "You know what? I just need enough money to be able to sit somewhere, research, study, and I don't want to do anything with the government or anything like that." He says, yeah, your wish is done. You get 10,000 dinars every month, and you just go live your life. And he lives based on money, the stipend that comes to him. The second one is the notorious i-Sabah. I don't know if you ever heard the name or not, but you all know what an assassin is. Assassin is a person that kills other people. So i-Sabah asks for a favor to be part of the system, and when he can't get that, on the other hand, he believes the country is occupied by foreign forces, he starts a group and he calls them Hashashin, which the word hashish comes from the word hashish. He creates this notorious group of killers, which they consume hashish before going on a mission, and all of them are castrated, so nothing can deceive them, seduce them, or anything like that. They only get things done. And he starts the first terrorist organization in the world, and he calls them Hashashin, which over time, when it comes to the English language, it becomes assassins, and you can see that. And the third friend is Nizam. And the story goes that eventually i-Sabah and assassins kill his best friend, which is Nizam, which was the vizier. Now, these are three characters of our story. My focus is on the first one, Khayyam, which was, he was not a poet. He started as a mathematician. He set up according to all the resources, the most accurate calendar ever made over 1,000 years ago, and he was doing mathematician. On his time that he was not working, he started writing poems. And his poems are most fascinating because it talks about the fragility of life, the temporary existence here, and just be happy, enjoy, drink, and stuff like that, wine and other things. It's a fascinating book of poems from him. Now, we leave Khayyam here, fast forward 800 years. England. We go to England, and this time we have Edward Fitzgerald. And Edward Fitzgerald was a person, he wanted to make a name in literature. So he tried Latin language too, he did some translations, and finally he stumbles upon this little book from Khayyam. And he reads this with very limited knowledge of Persian language, and he says, you know what, I want to translate this. So he starts the translation of Khayyam's book, and what comes out is a fascinating book. He makes a name. He has done a lot of other work, but he's mainly known for the translation of Khayyam Rubaiyat, which is 4 verses, they call them Rubaiyat. He, in fact, helped Khayyam to become a world-famous poet. And when you look at the translation, it's not even a translation. It's a rearrangement. He wrote those poems based on what he thought these things should be. So it's all new, it's entirely, but it still conveys the same message, and this is important. The same message that Khayyam was trying to convey, you get the same thing coming from Edward Fitzgerald. Enter Mr. Jorge Luis Borges. He comes in, and in his theory, he says, every book in the world, everything that has written and will be written already exists. When you write something, you just rediscover that. You're not creating anything. And he uses the example of Khayyam and Fitzgerald. He says, this book is supposedly the translation of Khayyam's book, but no, it is the same person that came back 800 years later, you could look at it like that, wrote the same words in a different language, but carried the same message. It is the same book. And he says, in each one of us, there is more than one person. It's not a multiple personality disorder or anything like that. He says you have a public person and a private person. And what you create is already created. And the example of Fitzgerald, and he has other examples, for instance, about the Don Quixote, the book, Cervantes, and another person, Pierre Menard, which is a imaginary person. But I wanted to connect all these pieces. Something was written 800 years before another person tries to translate that, and when he creates it, it's as fascinating as the original piece, and makes the original person very famous, and same message, but the words are different, the person seemingly is different, but the message is the same. So the message in this whole thing is, I borrowed that from the Bible. It says, there is nothing new under the sun. It just, who finds it, rediscovers that, and presents it to us. I hope you enjoyed this little story. Thank you very much.